The top 5 best marked decks, in my opinion. If you're new to Magic and you don't know what a marked deck is, it's basically a special deck that has hidden markings on the back that lets you know what the card is without looking at it. Now there's 2 types of marked decks. You have your readers and you have your coded decks. Readers are literally the card's name written on the back, just printed on the back, and then coded decks are, it's a hidden code that you have to decipher that's hidden in the deck's design. In my opinion, you should avoid such decks because in the heat of the moment in performance, you have to quickly and accurately read those marks. You can't stall and just stare at the card. That'll just be a dead giveaway. So needless to say, all the decks on this list will be readers, and not only that, they are decks that I actually use in my performances. And I kind of feel like most best marked deck videos are just people showing you decks they have laying around that happen to be marked, with no real intent on giving you any real advice or value. So my criteria for this list is availability, readability, and relatability. And what I mean by that is they have to be, in stock to purchase at a reasonable price, and they have to be easy to read, and they have to be relatable. The spectator has to recognize these cards as just a regular, everyday deck of cards. So having that said, I'll leave some links down below to where you can purchase these decks if you want to. So on top of showing you the best marked decks you can buy, I'm also going to teach you 3 tricks you can do with a marked deck. Let's get into it. Alright, so the GT Speed Reader, of course GT meaning Garrett Thomas. This is called the Speed Reader for a good reason. You just glance down for a split second to look at the card and you instantly have it. So watch, I'll give you a quick demo on how quickly you can get it. So watch, I'll dribble the cards or cut to one. Instantly I know it's the 6 of hearts. And I'll just show you this card right now. It's 6 of hearts. And I will show you what the markings look like now. So watch, it's in this corner. It's right above my index finger. You can see that quite clearly, the 6 of hearts. Cohorts by Illusionist. Again, these are just a classic deck. They just look like a normal deck of cards. I mean, the classic back. I love these cards. Alright, so I'm going to show you the roundabout area of where the marking is, and let me know in the comments how quickly you can identify the card, alright? So here it is right here, and then tell me how long it takes you to get the marking. I'll give you a second, and then I'll show you right now is actually, again, the 6 of clubs. So this one has the letter C for club instead of the actual club suit. So I'll show you where it is right now. You can see just right there you have the 6, and right there you have the letter C for a club. So this next one is probably my favorite marked deck of all time. It's the Penguin Magic marked cards on the maiden back. I'm going to show you just how easy it is to read this marking. You'll get it right away, so watch. You can see that this card is actually the 9 of spades, and it's not going to take you very long to get it. It's actually right here, just in that heart shape. It's also in a few more places. These cards are actually marked a total of 6 times on the whole card. Now, as obvious as it is to you, the spectator is never going to see it. I've performed this deck so many times and I've never been called out on the markings. Because the spectator doesn't know where to look for a mark, and the spectator also doesn't really understand what a marked deck is, so they're not really paying attention to it. I mean, you're sitting there looking at it and you're thinking, oh my god, the spectator sees it too, but they just don't. So just be confident and cool and play it off like it's just a normal deck of cards, and you'll have no problems. Superior brand. Now I love these cards. Superior makes a whole bunch of different types of cards. They make some gala decks, they make stripper decks, they make all kinds of different kind of cards for magic tricks. I love these cards. I love how they just look like a normal deck of cards that you could buy, at a drugstore. And so they're not a giveaway. But the markings, man, I think this is one of those cards, one of those marking systems that you're just like, wow. A spectator has to notice this, but they just don't. Again, I performed with this deck so many times and they just don't see it. But once you see it, you can't unsee, but only if you point it out to them, then they'll see like I'm about ready to do to you. So watch, just above my index finger, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the 8 of hearts. Yeah, it's just the 8 and the 8, just right there. Bold, clear as day, the 8 of hearts. But trust me, they just never see it. I'll show you another one, the 9 of spades this time. You can just see it right above my index. 9 of spades. It's just the 9 and the spade. It's just like a kindergartner wrote it on there. Which is why this is one of my favorite decks to use for markings. Man, so easy to do, so easy to read. You can never miss it. Alright, so this last one is one I made myself, and in my opinion, one of the best mark decks you can use is the one that you make yourself. Because you spend so much time making it, you know exactly where to look, how you marked it. If you make a mistake, that's even better because you recognize that mistake as the card. And you put so much care into it that you're not going to forget it, and it's going to be instantly clear to you. Now, the particular marking system that I used on this deck is called the PM marking system, or Pete McCabe. And you know what, I'll leave a link down below to a PDF to where you can make this yourself if you'd like to. One thing to really keep in mind when making this deck is that you always use a ultrafine Sharpie, and for the blue deck, you should use a navy blue instead of the standard blue color for Sharpies. You can find this at you know, craft stores, or you can just go on Amazon, type in navy blue ultrafine Sharpie, and you'll find this. Sticking with our card, the 6 of clubs, I will show you what the markings look like right here. You can see it right there, right next to my index finger, the number 6 and the letter C on the angel there. I'll show you another one. This is the 3 of hearts, right next to my index finger. You can see the number 3 on the angel, and right under you can see the letter H for hearts. Again, this might seem like the most obvious markings to you because I'm showing you where to look and what to look for, but trust me, the spectator just never ever sees it. I've been performing with this deck, with this marking system for a long time. Nobody's ever said anything. They just never see it. Alright, so this first trick is a version of Alcaran's Double Thought that he first published in Professional Presentations. There's been many variations on it through the years, but I think this version I'm about to show you is the most direct and easy to do, and the most hard-hitting, I think. So what happens is you hand it back to the spectator, and you have them shuffle it up as much as they want to. Now, you ask them to give you about half of the deck, and while they're shuffling theirs, you shuffle yours as well. And when you both are done, you set them both down in front of you like this. So you have half the deck in front of you, they have half in front of them. Now, the instant they put their cards down, you read the back of the top of their card. So in this case, it would be the 5 of hearts, so you know what their card is. Now, you want to make a big deal about you not knowing what their card is. So you say, look, I want you to look at your card like this. Take a peek at it so I couldn't possibly know what it is. Like a poker thing, right? So just take a peek at it just so nobody but you knows what it is. And what you're doing is nothing at all. You're not actually looking at your card because this card doesn't matter at all to you right now. This is just a ploy for you guys both to do the same thing, apparently, at the same time. In fact, just do this so you're not actually looking at the card at all, because if you did look at it, that's just more confusion for you. Alright, so once they know what their card is, you have them pick it up and give it a shuffle so it's lost in their half, and then you shuffle yours as well, and now you trade halves. So you take theirs, and then they take yours. And again, they shuffle yours and you shuffle theirs. Now what happens here is that you say, look, I'm gonna try to find your card, what I think your card might be, and you do the same thing. You try to find my card out of my half. So it's a simple thing. You already know what their card is, the 5 of hearts, because of that at peak with the marked deck. And so you go through, find the 5 of hearts, jog it, and put it face down on the table like this, and put the other cards aside. And they do the same thing, so they take out what they think is your card. Let's say it's this one, you know, I wouldn't even look at it for dramatic purposes. They put it right there, they put the rest aside. Now, when they put it down, all you do is read the marking, and that'll be your card, right? So right now I'm looking at it, and it's the 7 of hearts, so that'll be your card. So you say, look, for the first time, what was your card? They say, it's the 5 of hearts, you turn it over, boom, first miracle. And then you say, my card was a 7 of hearts, how'd you do? They turn it over, and of course, it's the 7 of hearts. And everybody's mind is blown, and you're a miracle worker. Alright, so this next one is a version of the classic mates plot, and what makes this so strong is that the fact that you're using a marked deck, so there's no way you could possibly know anything. Here's what I mean. So you have the deck shuffled by the spectator, and when they're done, they put it down on the table and they give it a cut like this. Now, what you do after the cut, read the back of the card on the top. In this case, it's the Queen of Clubs, and that'll be the card that you remember. So after you've read the card, after you know what the card is, you turn away and you say, look, I don't want to see anything, but what I want you to do, without looking at it yourself, put the top card in the box. So they do that, they put the top card in the box without looking at it, and that'll be a mystery card for later. Now, since this is a mate trick, you have to explain what is happening, because up until this point, they have no idea what the trick is, right? So it's justified by telling them what the trick is by spreading through the deck. So what you're doing is telling them that each card has a mate. Say, look, the mate to the 2 of diamonds is the 2 of hearts. It's the same number and same color, right? It's the mate. So you keep spreading through, just naming off mates. Say, look, 6 of hearts, 6 of diamonds. And when you get to the mate to the card that you noted on the back, you cull the card. In this case, it'll be the Queen of Spades. So in the action of naming cards and naming their mates, cull the mate to that card, right? So just cull it under like this. As you keep naming cards, look, the mate to the 4 of diamonds would be the 4 of hearts. You get the idea, right? And then you just spread through, say every card has a mate, even the card in the box, and set the deck down. And you say, look, you shuffle the deck and you cut to a card. So I'll do the same thing, give it a shuffle, minting the card on top, and do any kind of false cut like this that you want to, like this. And then look, I'll put the top card right here next to the card box. And then wouldn't it be amazing if the card inside the box matched my card? So you have them open the card box, take it out, they see it's the Queen of Clubs, turn over your card, and it's the Queen of Spades. So this next trick is a variation on the classic Lazy Man's card trick invented by Jack Miller. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's the one where they pick a card and they turn the deck face up and they keep cutting the deck, and then they turn the deck face down. You never touch the deck at all, and then you can tell them where exactly their card is in the deck. So here's how it actually works, the regular version of the Lazy Man's card trick. So you have a setup on the bottom of the deck. It's the ace through king of a suit. In this case, we have the ace through king of spades on the bottom of the deck, the ace being lowermost. Now what happens is they pick a card from the middle of the deck, say that one right there, you close the deck up. Now you have them cut the deck like this, and they put their card back on here. We'll just look at it, it's the 10 of hearts, they put it back, and you have them complete the cut. And then what they're doing is actually putting the setup directly on top of their own card like this. Now you have them turn the deck face up and get the deck a cut. Now what you're gonna do is watch for spades. In this case, it was perfect. And so you know their card is 5 down from the deck, so turn the deck face down. Look, I think your card might be close to the top. I think it might be 5 from the top. It works automatically because of that setup. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cards. But doing it with a marked deck, you don't have to do it face up. You can do it face down, and it won't be obvious with the number on the bottom of the deck either. So again, it's the same setup, only this time you just remove the ace and put it in the middle. Alright, so again, same thing. They pick a card, and then the same thing. They cut the deck, put their card in the middle. We'll just look at it as the 5 of diamonds, and then they put the rest on top. Now, they can give it a cut, and all you're going to do is the same thing, but you just look at the back of the marking and look to watch for a spade. So they cut the deck here, and I can see it's a spade, just the 2 of spades. So look, I can see through the deck. I think your card might be, it's not on top, but I think it's close. I think it's 2 from the top. So they take the deck and they count 1, 2. Alright guys, so if you made it this far, I want to give you a bonus trick. This is actually a completely self-working ending card at any number. Now if you've seen my video with my wife that I called the Burglars effect, this is the same thing that I did in that video, although what I did there is several sleight of hand. I did a second deal, which I just wanted to ham it up for that video, but doing it this way is a lot easier. So what you're going to need is obviously a marked deck and a friend who was in on it. And my wife was in on that effect, and that's how it worked. So what you're going to do is that you get a friend who knows how to read your markings on the back, all right? So let's say you and said friend is out and about having a good time. You're doing tricks and you want to close with a real stunner, right? So you say, look, you give your friend the nod, they know what to do, all right? So You ask somebody else who is not in on it, just a random person or a friend or whatever, it doesn't matter who it is, and you ask them to think of any number from 1 to 52. It can be any number at all. There's no restriction. And so the person who is thinking of the number, who names the number, they can shuffle the deck too. It's really that fair. So they name a number and they shuffle the deck. All right. So now you ask your friend who knows the markings to name any card, or I'm sorry, just think of any card, right? So nobody else knows that this guy is in on the trick. So a random person shuffled the deck, they name a number, say it's 16, right? And your friend who knows the mark is just apparently thinking of a card, which he's really not. He's just going to do something sneaky here in a minute. So you take the deck back from random person, and it's important here that you don't do anything fishy, right? So be as clean as possible, don't do anything. So look, you're thinking of a card, you name 16, so you count down 16 cards very fairly. You say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Now you turn to your friend who knows the markings to name the card that they're thinking of, which what they do is they read the back of this card, right? Because the mark, and that'll be their card apparently that they thought of. In this case, is the King of Diamonds. So they say, the card I'm thinking of is the King of Diamonds. Now you say, look, you could have thought of any number. You could shuffle the deck. You could have thought of any card, but you thought of the King of Diamonds, and you turn it over. Boom, it's the King of Diamonds. Alright guys, so I really hope you learned something new from this video and got some real insight about marked decks. And by the way, it's always a good idea to use a marked deck even if you don't intend to use the markings on the back, because if something goes wrong, you always have the backup of having a marked deck. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.